You notice it when things finally slow down to an oh crisis, an oh pressure, an oh one pulling at you. And instead of relief, something tightens inside. You feel restless, uneasy, almost wrong for feeling nothing at all. You tell yourself you should enjoy the calm, but your body doesn't agree. And a quiet question forms. Why does peace feel so uncomfortable? When life is busy, you function. You handle problems. You make decisions. You respond. But when there's space, a quiet evening, an unscheduled weekend, your mind doesn't settle. You scroll without interest. You pace. You feel an urge to do something, anything. Not because you want to, but because stillness feels exposed. Your thoughts get louder. Old memories surface. Unfinished emotions knock. You might start small conflicts, overwork for no reason, or fill your time with noise. And eventually, you turn it inward. What's wrong with me? Why can't I relax like other people? Why do I feel better under pressure? Over time, this shapes how you see yourself. You start believing you're only okay when you're productive, only valuable when you're needed, only safe when something demands your attention. Relationships feel it too, because quiet connection without fixing, helping, or performing feels strangely uncomfortable. So calm becomes something you avoid, not consciously, but automatically, and that avoidance has a reason. Here's the part most people miss. Discomfort and calm doesn't mean you're broken. IT means your nervous system learned something specific, very early or very intensely. Your brain adapted to a world where calm wasn't neutral. IT was uncertain or unsafe or emotionally unattended. So it learned a rule: movement equals safety, stillness equals risk. That rule didn't form as a belief, that IT formed as wiring. And wiring doesn't respond to logic, that IT responds to patterns. This isn't a flaw, it's an adaptation that once kept you functional. But now, it's showing up where it no longer fits. To understand this, you have to look at how the brain interprets calm. The nervous system has two broad modes, activation and rest. But rest isn't always experienced as safe. Visual, two slow-moving waves, one calm, one sharp. If your early environment required alertness, emotionally, socially, or practically, your brain associated quiet with unpredictability. When nothing is happening, your brain doesn't relax. It scans. The amygdala checks for threat. The default mode network fills the silence with memory. The body waits for impact. So calm doesn't register as peace, that IT registers as waiting for something bad to happen. Here's the metaphor. Your brain is like a smoke detector that, if it once learned that danger comes quietly, it stays sensitive during silence. Not because there's smoke now, but because it was before. And once a detector is tuned high, silence becomes suspicious. This is why busyness can feel grounding, why chaos feels familiar, why urgency feels clarifying. Your nervous system knows how to operate there. So, what do you do with this without forcing yourself to just relax? You work with the brain, not against it. Step 1. Redefine calm as active safety. What to do? Introduce gentle structure into calm moments. Not productivity. Predictability. Why it works. The brain relaxes when it can predict what comes next. Structure reduces uncertainty, which lowers threat detection. Example. Instead of an open evening, you plan one small ritual. Tea at the same time, a short walk, point one song you always play. Calm becomes known, not empty. What to do? Regulate physically before expecting mental peace. Why it works. Cognitive calm follows physiological safety. The vagus nerve responds to breath, posture, and rhythm. Example. You don't sit and try to relax. You stretch. You sway slightly. You breathe slower than feels necessary. The mind follows the body, not the other way around. What to do? Allow calm with gentle sensory input. Why it works. Total silence can activate rumination. Mild stimuli keep the brain oriented without overwhelm. Example. Soft background music. Ambient noise at a lamp instead of overhead light. You're not avoiding calm, you're easing into it. What to do? Stop interpreting discomfort as a personal failure. Why it works. Self-judgment activates threat circuits, reinforcing unease. Neutral labeling reduces emotional amplification. Example. Instead of I'm bad at resting, you say, my nervous system is recalibrating. Nothing is wrong. Something is adjusting. What to do? Sit in calm briefly and leave before overwhelm hits. Why it works. Gradual exposure teaches the brain that calm is survivable. Safety is learned in doses. Example, 2 minutes of stillness, then movement, then 2 minutes again. You're training tolerance, not forcing peace. Here's the model to remember. Calm is an absence. It's a signal environment. Your brain asks, is this space safe? Before it ever asks, can I relax here? If the answer is unclear, discomfort fills the gap. So your job isn't to chase serenity. That is to teach your nervous system that nothing is required right now. Think of calm like water temperature. You don't dive in cold. You acclimate. Bit by bit, the system learns. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling uneasy in quiet moments. It means your brain learned to survive through motion, through attention, through readiness. Now, it's being invited to learn something new. That calm doesn't mean neglect. That stillness doesn't mean danger. That rest doesn't erase your value. You don't need to love calm yet. You just need to stop fighting your reaction to it. Because the discomfort you feel in peace isn't a sign you're failing at life. It's a sign your nervous system is listening and slowly learning that nothing is about a break, and that, over time, changes everything.